Hi, I'm Rick Dior. I'm the professor of percussion at UNC Charlotte. Today I'm going to play through the middle school NCMEA snare drum solos. There's 3 different parts to this. The first part is a concert snare drum solo. The second part is a rudimental solo. And finally we have a short tambourine solo. So I'm going to cover that in this one video. So just there you heard the concert solo. And it's a fairly simple solo, although for some of you beginners, it may prove somewhat difficult if you don't know exactly how to approach it. So that's my goal today, to help you learn how to approach these things and what to look out for. So the first thing we need to talk about is the equipment you're going to use. You want to use some snare drum concert sticks, a little bit heavier than maybe what you use for drum set. So if you have a kitchen scale, something around 60 to 70 grams would be good. A Vic Firth SD1 is a good general inexpensive snare drum stick. The other thing is the snare drum you're going to use needs to be, if possible, an orchestral drum. So the difference between a drum set snare drum and an orchestral snare drum are the snares. And it's a very heavy drum. I'm going to take this off of here. So you see the snares there. And we have some curly snares, some cable snares, and some wire. Combination of those makes for a really dry sound, which is what you want. I'm going to put this back on. So if possible, if you can borrow a snare drum from your band program, or hopefully they'll have one at the audition that's not a drum set drum, that will enable you to play really softly on the edge. And that's the first thing I want to talk about. So all the soft stuff you're going to play should be right on the edge over the snares. So if you see the strainer, here's the back of the strainer, here's the strainer, you want to play right over the snares. That's going to be the most sensitive spot on the drum. You get the most snare response. The other thing is you want to tune the drum up to somewhere between a G natural and an A. That's a good tuning, especially if you have a 5 by 14 inch drum. If it's a deeper drum, a 6-inch drum, then an F sharp to a G is a good tuning for this. So the composer here gives you some tips. He says make sure you set all the solos, music, and the tambourine and whatever sticks you're going to use, make sure they're set in front of you or on a music stand or a trap table, as I have here. So you can just walk into the room and get set up quickly. Make sure you play it at the tempo that's written, which is quarter note equals 126. All the rolls should be played closed in an orchestral style. We'll talk about that more in a minute. We talked about the sticks already. And then also we'll talk about playing in different parts of the drum. We already talked about the edge, but your general playing area is going to be right off center. The loudest playing area, the driest part of the drum, is dead center. That's like the node. That's the tightest part of the head. As you go towards the edge, it becomes a little looser. So normally my general playing area is right off center. So that's where you should do most of this. If you have heavy accents, as in the last bar, you might want to play that in the center. So let's work through this quickly. In the beginning, we have this theme, and I'm going to put the click track on here. So the flam here should be played somewhat closed. Not open like this. It's a thickening of the note. All right? And then the rolls are closed, like I said. And what those are buzz rolls. So all of these concert orchestral or buzz rolls have an underlying pulse. In this case, it's 16th notes. So I'm playing an underlying pulse of 16ths and I'm buzzing all of those notes. So do that for all the rolls all the way through this piece at that tempo. So after the first line, we come to this second line, and there's a crescendo from the end of the first line to the second line, but it's not a big crescendo, so very, very slight. And the pianissimo or piano there should be here, and then your pianissimo, which is even softer, 2 P's in bar 9 should be here. So that's the difference. So here's the pianissimo, piano, and mezzo piano, and mezzo forte, and forte, and finally fortissimo, the loudest. So you want to get those parameters for your dynamic range. So when we get to that line 2, we have this. And again, I'm playing that under tempo at quarter note equals 100. So you see there at 5, I'm using one hand. So when you have repeating notes like that, one after the other, you want to do that with one hand, as long as it's slow enough for you to do that. Now let's try that same line up to tempo at 126. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're into that third line. So right here, this is the softest part of the solo. You want to play right on the edge, as soft as you can play. And remember that 16th note underlayment for the rolls. So let's play line 3 for you now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a nice big crescendo into line 4. Now line 4 is the trickiest line of the piece because it's fast and there's some syncopation here in the third bar. So watch my sticking here. Here's line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see how I'm doing those accents with one hand there. And then most of these 16th note to 8th note passages are right, left, left. Try to play those all at the same volume. And then we come to line 5, and these rolls, once again, those are 16th note underlayment there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just follow all those dynamics exactly as they're written. And the third bar of line 5 is just basically a big diminuendo for that whole bar. And then finally the last line, 1, 2, 3, 4. So as much energy as you can get on that roll at the end. So I'll play that again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And play those last notes in the center of the drum. And that's it. Now I'll play all these solos at the end of this video for you all 1, 2, 3 in a row without you being able to hear the click. So then what happens is you turn the page and you have these technical etudes. So you have a snare drum etude, which is rudimental in nature, so open rolls, open flams, all double strokes, okay? And then the tambourine etude. So let's look at those. I'm going to use a little bit of a heavier stick for this. You can switch to a heavier stick or the same sticks. Don't use marching band sticks. They'll be too thick for you. Okay, but maybe if you have a heavier stick, it works better for the rudimental stuff. So all these are open rolls. So this first bar, these would be 5-stroke rolls. So let me play this for you just to start out, and then we'll talk about it. So this is tempo of quarter note equals 110. 1, 2, 1, 2. So this could be a little bit louder than the concert solo, and as you see, all those rolls are open. It's kind of like a march there. So the double strokes, you're bouncing the sticks. And then using a little bit of fingers to reinforce that. So let's look at this first line and slowly, 1, 2. So those flams, they can be played a little more open now as compared to the previous concert etude. And that rudiment in measure 3 is called a flam tap. Make sure you follow all the stickings exactly how they're written. And then we come to line 2, and the second bar we have paradiddles. I'll do this slowly for you. 1, 2. And that last bar of line 2 is called a flamacue. I added a little flam there. Okay, and then we're off to line 3, measure 9. And again, all open rolls. Now, you could start this a little softer than mezzo forte, which we've come from, just to give you more of a chance to get louder or crescendo over those 3 bars. So here's line 3. Same slow tempo. 1, 2. And then we're at line 4, and just pay careful attention to these accents on the 16th notes. 1, 2. And finally, line 5. 1, 2. So make sure you play that triplet clean at the end there. They're accented. So now we'll just play it for you one more time, back at the tempo of 110. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you have 4 bars to put the sticks down, turn the snares off, pick up the tambourine, and play the tambourine part. So all these rolls are going to be shake rolls with the tambourine. So in order to play a good shake roll, you got to have a good grip on the tambourine. So the fingers are going to go here, and then the thumb is going to go on top. Don't put your fingers or any finger in that hole there. That's for a cymbal stand to mount it. Okay? So that's the grip. Now you could play either righty or lefty, but if you're a righty, I would try to learn how to do shake rolls with both your left and right hand, because you have to do a lot of striking with your strong hand and then roll with your weaker hand, your non-dominant hand. So for this etude, since there's not a lot of rolls and there's a lot of striking, I'm holding the tambourine in my non-dominant hand, which for me is my left hand. So you're going to start with the tambourine flat, and you're going to play like this. And you're going to rest your palm on the head and use your fingers. So let me play the whole etude for you, and then we'll talk about it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you saw me use a lot of different hand techniques there. Now I'm doing some of these because in the instructions it tells you to do them, and I'm a little afraid if you don't do those, they might deduct points at your audition. I would not necessarily do all of this like that, and we'll talk about that in a second, but we're going to follow the instructions that they're giving you here. So again, you're going to use your fingers. Now, bar 3, you're going to use a flat fist, because those are marcato or rooftop accents. Now, in the instructions, it says use your knuckles. Your knuckles are here. Don't use your knuckles, because you could break the tambourine and it hurts. Just use a flat fist like that. Okay? And then the rolls are shake rolls, like I said. So you're going to attack the roll. So when you start the roll, and you're going to leave your hand on the tambourine. So bar 29 is this. So you see how I'm hitting the tambourine and then stopping it. Now again, I'm doing my rolls with my non-dominant hand, my left hand. You can also do that with your right hand. But then you're not doing the striking with your dominant hand. So you have that decision to make. So when you play this, these rolls, it's much easier to hold the tambourine like this rather than flat. So, but when you stop it, you want to go flat to keep that tambourine dry. And then the last 2 bars, you're flat, and then back down. All right? So it's a little bit complicated. There's a lot of choreography that goes into this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play all the solos for you. 1, 2, 3 with the metronome, and I'll change the tempo of the metronome. But I'm going to play with the metronome, but you won't hear the metronome when I'm playing it back. But I'll play it with the metronome so I can have the exact timing that I need. So we're going to do all the switches here. Here we go. We're going to start the first solo at 126. And that's our tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, 1, 2. And you can end that with a fist on the tambourine or just strike it, but hit it pretty hard. So I hope you enjoyed this. You can try to contact me at rmdior@uncc.edu. That's my university email address if you have any questions. And I wish you lots of luck on your audition.